What if the guy you thought was a loser turned out to be the smartest one in the room? I've always prided myself on being a good judge of character, but when my daughter Maya brought home Jackson, I thought my internal radar had finally broken. Maya is a high-speed, Ivy League-bound perfectionist. Jackson? Jackson looked like he'd been living in a van, by choice. He wore these beat-up thrift store flannels, had a beard that was more castaway than hipster, and spoke with a slow, southern drawl that made me think he was perpetually 3 seconds away from a nap. For 6 months, I was the king of the one-word answer. Hey, Mr. Henderson, how's the grill coming? Fine. Nice weather we're having, huh? Sure. I figured if I stayed cold enough, he'd eventually just melt away. But then came the Saturday from hell. My wife and Maya went to some bridal shower 3 towns over, and I was stuck at home trying to fix a leak under the kitchen sink that was turning my hardwood into a swamp. I was hunched over, covered in gray water, swearing at a pipe that refused to budge when I heard that slow drawl behind me. You know, if you keep torquing it like that, you're gonna strip the threads, sir, I snapped. I looked up, ready to tell him to beat it, but Jackson wasn't just standing there. He was already rolling up his sleeves. He didn't wait for permission. He just slid onto the floor, took the wrench from my hand, and said, "My old man was a plumber in Savannah. Move over. I got this." For the next 20 minutes, we sat on the floor in total silence. No small talk, no dude, just the sound of metal on metal. When he finally tightened the last valve, he didn't brag. He just wiped his hands on a rag and said, "That ought to hold. You got any cold beers? Fixing stuff always makes me thirsty." We ended up on the back porch, cracking open 2 IPAs. It turns out Jackson wasn't lazy. He was just unbothered. He told me about his plan to renovate old Airstreams and turn them into mobile clinics. He wasn't some drifter. He was a guy who valued time over stuff. By the time Maya got home, we weren't just talking. We were arguing about the best way to smoke a brisket. Maya walked in, saw us laughing, and literally dropped her keys. She looked at me and whispered, "Dad, are you okay?" Just took a sip of my beer, leaned back and said, "Yeah, Maya. Jackson was just telling me why my charcoal technique is trash. I guess the kid's all right. Just don't tell him I said."